So welcome to the 26th annual meeting of the Economic Development Coalition. It's my honor to welcome you all here today to the Riverwind Casino Showplace Theater. They're actually our presenting sponsor of today's annual meeting. Justin Yahola and his staff have gone well beyond, above and beyond everything that we've asked, and really appreciate what they've done for us today. I highly encourage you to use Riverwind Casino, the Showplace Theater, whenever you may have an event that you're considering. I'd also like to call your attention to the other Sooner Centurion logos that are on your screens to the left and the right, as well as on some mobile stands around. Moore Norman Technology Center, Cleveland County, the Chickasaw Nation, University of Oklahoma, the City of Norman, Arvest Bank, First United Bank, KREF, Boyd Street Magazine, Oklahoma Electric Cooperative, the Norman Transcript, and Norman Magazine. We couldn't do this without them. Please join me in thanking them for this. I'd also like to say a prayer, and we'll get started, and then we'll have about 20 minutes before we officially start. Dear Lord, today we come together as a team with diverse talents and backgrounds. Please bind us with a spirit of unity and collaboration that we may leverage our strengths for the greater good. Help us to appreciate each other's contributions and work so that we may work harmoniously towards our shared goals. We thank you for the privilege to work together in anticipation of the remarkable outcomes that lie ahead. Please bless this food to the nourishment of our body and soul. In your name we pray. Amen. So please continue to enjoy lunch for about 20 minutes, and then we'll get started.
And will be for the next about 10 minutes, maybe less, depending on how these comments go. But before I get started, I want to thank a few people and do some housekeeping items. The first one is we've asked that the service be limited during this production, because heaven forbid anybody interrupts me while I'm speaking. And but if you do need a refill, head to the back, just like Rusty's doing right now as he's coming in. It's actually kind of funny. The last time I've been in this theater and seen somebody on this stage was Jim Gaffigan, who's coming back to Riverwind. I will not be nearly as entertaining. I apologize. I wish we could get him. Maybe we'll book some entertainment at some point. Next on the screen will be the logos of the Sooner Centurions. And I think most people are aware that the Sooner Centurions is the name that we've given the private sector investors in NEDC. And nothing could happen in NEDC without the private sector piece of this. In fact, as we go forward on our next 5-year plan, we're going to actually increase the private sector leadership on this, and we'll talk more about that later. But before we get started, I'd like to thank all the Sooner Centurions with a round of applause that's helped out so far. And with the private sector, there's also the public sector. And so we have several elected officials with us today that I will introduce. I have a list, and it's correct as far as I know, but if I leave out anybody, I apologize in advance. So starting with Senator Langford's office, Estela Hernandez. And she will stand and be recognized. Thank you. Scott Chance with Congressman Cole's office. Our county commissioners, starting with Rod Cleveland. Rusty Grissom. You guys stand up. Rusty, yeah. Those that don't know, Rusty was a board member, and so I've worked for him for the last 25 years. And Jacob McHughes. And from the Norman City Council, we have Mayor Heikkila here. Austin Ball, Councilmember Ward 1. Okay. Curveball already. Lauren Schuler, Councilmember Ward 2. Bree Montoya, Ward 3. There she is. Elizabeth Foreman, Ward 6. Stephen Tyler Holman, Ward 7. And Matt Peacock, Ward 8. And we have our Norman City Manager, Darrell Pyle here. At last year's meeting, well, actually, let's get a round of applause for all elected officials. We're not quite ready for that one yet. There we go. At last year's meeting, we celebrated 25 years of progress for NEDC. And so now, as we come back a year later, and as I'm passing the gavel to David Nemo, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done this year and how we move forward. We closed out the meeting last year with a big, aggressive 5-year plan that talked about 3,500 jobs, placemaking, quality of life, and we've been well on our way towards that. And so to kind of look at that, we have a video for our 2023 year in review, and so hopefully we can get that going here on the screen. 2023 was busy indeed. Before I get on to what we're going to do this year, I did get out of order. If you guys saw, where's Kimberly? I didn't forget. As CEO of, I want to talk a little bit about the OG&E franchise vote, the vote yes for linemen as well. As a CEO of OEC, I think I'm in a unique position to speak on this in the fact of just what it means to have the OG&E franchise pass. And I hope that everyone will consider passing it. If I had a vote, which I don't, I actually live just right down the street here, I would vote yes for it, and I hope it passes. And for those in the audience that are OEC members, that get the magazine with my article in it. You may not realize that I have an article in it because I think my mom is the only one that reads it, but I will be speaking about that coming up. Riverwind is served by OEC, so I'm sure the leadership here will read what I have to say. But for those that are living in Norman that are OEC members, it's a positive thing for Norman and a positive thing for the city, in my opinion. So I encourage everybody to vote yes. And if NEDC doesn't take, doesn't get involved in politics, but NEDC will take a stand on business issues, and we think this is a business issue that NEDC is supporting. So as we move forward, at 2023, I feel we'll look back on as a pivotal year in the business community in Norman. You can see the things that we've done this past year. And when we announced last year the new Sooner Centurions 501c3 and this big elaborate strategic plan that we've been working on for 5 years, one of the first things we started with was a One Norman visioning, was to get the visioning of the community. And David Nimmo may talk more about it since he was the co-chair along with council member Peacock, but it's really the start of putting our strategic plan in action, and I think we're really ready to launch, and really a good collaborative effort across the city. So you all have one of these on your tables, and I would encourage anybody to look through it, and if you see anything in there that aligns with your business, any of the initiatives, there's also this, I feel like we're almost at a fundraiser here, but there's this form right here, and if there's any of those initiatives that align with your business, please sign up and let us know, let NEDC know. We're going to need help to actually get where we need to go vision-wise and in the community, and so anything that aligns with your business, where what NEDC is doing can help out your business, please put that on there. We'll try to work together. And finally, the NEDC board, I'd like for the current NEDC board to stand up, and you can see who's on the board right there. I want to recognize them. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate the support of being involved with such a great organization and a great board, and really how the leadership, just privileged to be a part of that group and to actually be able to lead it, at least on paper, has been really a great honor. And as I conclude, I'm going to have David Nimmo come up as we kind of ceremonial pass leadership on. I want to speak briefly to the last 5 years. I've been the chair for 5 years, which seems like an eternity in this role. And just to the reason why I've stayed on so long, it's not because I feel like no one else could do this, but really when I started at NEC, which is like 8 or 9 years ago, it doesn't seem that long ago, but David Bourne was at OU, so we had Chris Kulwitzki and Anil Gall-Holly and Daniel Pullen on the board. Steve Lewis was the city manager. Jane Bowen was at More Norman Technology, and it just was kind of a different time, and John Woods was still at the chamber. I'm talking like I'm just like this old fogey now that it's back in my day, so I don't feel like I've been here that long, but it does seem like we've had a lot of change very quickly. And so as NEDC created a strategic plan with Jason Smith was in charge of NEDC at that time, created a strategic plan that created this grand vision of what the business community could do, take NEDC to this grand place, take Norman kind of where we all, I think, wanted to go, or at least where I wanted to go. But then we went through just a lot of change, where Jason Smith cast the vision, and then he took another job. And then NEDC slowly just kind of got taken down to the studs. And, much like the Thunder have recently recently done where, they're number one in the Western Conference right now, which is super exciting. They had to go through a lot of hard years, lean years. I'm not saying it needs to be tanked, but at any time. But we did want to leave the foundation open for when Lawrence came in and all these new leaders around the community to come in. So as David comes up and he takes over, the reason why I felt like I can leave now, or at least pass it off now, and I've been along so far, is I didn't feel like I had done a good job enough to get a cake ready that he could just take out of the oven and take with it. Pieces were scattered, and I think that I just didn't want to hand off something that sparse to someone else to fix. And so I'm really excited now because I know we'll achieve great things now because David's taking over. He can come in and take off from what I've done. I think, much like a starting pitcher gets through the 6th or 7th inning and somehow we still have the lead. I was in a few tight jams and got out of it. Didn't make great decisions all the time. Mariano Rivera is coming in and saying, we'll take it from here. And so really excited about that. So David, please come up and and for those that have not worked with David, I've known David for years, but to see him up close and for someone to David's abilities and wisdom, just came off being the chair of the Norman Chamber and now NADC for some reason, probably the same reason I'm doing it. He's devoting his time, energy, talents, and wisdom to making Norman a better place, and I'm really excited to have you take over. Thank you.
Only.
Okay.
Obviously, he's not seen me pitch, or he wouldn't be handing this off in that way. Patrick, you have, over the last 4 or 5 years, you have been herding the cats through a transition of NEDC. For years, NEDC was funded in a somewhat minimal way, but in the only way we could in our community. So many towns have a 1/4-cent sales tax or something that helps fund their economic development. We've had to rely on our public partners in order to be able to do anything in the way of NEDC. And so transitioning to a more private funded sort of program, or supplementing the public funding with private, has been a huge change in a lot of different ways. And you have done a super job in getting us a foundation that is already producing fruit, and that more and more of that will be produced in the future. So I thank you, our staff thanks you, our board thanks you, our city and our county thanks you for all that you've done to position NEDC to do some great things going forward. So we would like to present you with a plaque and showing our appreciation. And we also have a Sooner Centurion desk feature that you'll be able to take and display at the office as well. And we, just in case you don't do this, we sent flowers to Kelly for her contribution to you. So, congratulations. So good afternoon, everyone. I couldn't think of a better day than Leap Day for this presentation, because NEDC has truly taken a leap forward, and it is much to do with Patrick's leadership that's happened. For the past 3 years, we've listened to the community, we've sought feedback, we've facilitated conversations within the community, and we've now set a new baseline for performance of NEDC going forward. We're armed with data and re-engaged with the private sector, who has helped us craft a very, very bold regional business plan with accountability and metrics that are going to be very, very important. In fact, I'd like to welcome some leaders that are here, hopefully, from our region, which include Oklahoma City, South Oklahoma City, Moore, Noble, Lexington, and Slaughterville. You know, a community needs partners to be effective and progressive. Norman is no different. We need to have partnerships around us to really grow our community and help our citizens. So we thank you for being here and being a part of NEDC, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Our plan is a national best practice plan. We've never attempted it locally. We've never contemplated a $16 million 5-year plan with $250 million worth of new capital investment and the creation of 3,500 jobs for our area. But that's what you've asked us to do, and that's what we're going to deliver. In fact, we've been delivering that already, as you'll see in a moment. As Patrick said, we began implementing this plan immediately after our 2023 annual meeting last January. We faced inevitable roadblocks, as you can imagine. We overcame them. We had obstacles that became opportunities. But with focus, dedication, and persistence for our anticipated outcomes, we indeed have leapt forward. Under Patrick's leadership, I was proud to co-chair the One Norman visioning process with Matt Peacock, principal of Peacock Designs, and a city councilman too, who was introduced a moment ago. I feel, and we certainly attempted to make the process very fair, fully transparent. We had people apply to participate in the vision process, and they were selected based upon demographics to assure that we would have a broad representation of the people of our community that would parrot it as best we could. There are some cards on your table that I would like you to think about before you leave filling out, because we need to have more and more people support the visions that we have developed. We're excited about the vision. It's aggressive, and it can't sit on a shelf and grow dust. Some of you have been involved in strategic plans where they're developed and then nobody really follows them. We can't let that happen with this visioning process. We have to get engaged and be involved. And if you will, there are many different areas of the vision that you can select. You don't have to do them all. Select the ones that you're passionate about, and we'll marry you up with those other folks in the community that are passionate about those particular visions. In fact, if you'll call Emily or text her, Erica Millar, or text her, she'll get you engaged where you need to be, and will help you do what we need you to do to support the overall vision. One of the underlying principles of One Norman is public communications to educate and elevate our civic IQ around community issues. We branded this effort Civicon, which is short for Civic Conversations. And some of you may have attended our first speaker's presentation, who's from UCLA, and he spoke on affordable housing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that our second event will occur on March 25th. Our speaker is James Lima. He'll be presenting at the Nancy O'Brien Performing Arts Center, and his topic will be economics of placemaking. All of these are issues that were found to be important to the community in the visioning process, so we're happy to present information on them. Because of the announcement made last September concerning the entertainment district, many of you are supporters of Team Norman. Dozens of people are hard at work trying to make this opportunity become a reality. I've had the unique opportunity to observe something similar, but in the tribal context. I've been working with the Chickasaw Nation since 1992, and so I've enjoyed watching them grow. They were under trusteeship for over 100 years, meaning the federal government owned and operated things for them, provided whatever resources they would provide for them. And frankly, it did not go well. The tribes were impoverished, their health care was poor, they were unemployed. They wanted to take over and be the masters of their own destiny, but they just weren't allowed for many years. In the 1970s, finally, federal policy changed towards the tribes, and they were allowed to take over a portion of their own care. Now, they had a problem. They had no resources. They couldn't tax their people because the people were already taxed by federal, state, and local. So adding another tax in order to provide resources to support them just didn't make a lot of sense. So what did they do? Well, they had some land that was not being productive, and so they decided we've got to invest in ourselves. But they didn't have any money. So they had to go into debt to do it, realizing that in order to achieve the ultimate outcome of resources to support their people, they would have to repay that debt and wait a while, but ultimately it would generate the resources they need to do the magic that they wanted to do. And boy, has that not worked. All of the tribes have taken that same path because of necessity. They've taken the opportunity, they've stepped out boldly to do that. As I see it, Norman has the same opportunity right now. We have some land that is not being productive right now. It's not providing any ad valorem tax, no sales tax activity going on the land. We've got sales tax that is collected and used to support our citizens, but there is an opportunity now to create some new sources of revenue, just like the tribes had the opportunity to do. Unlike the tribes, we will get to receive some immediate benefit because the designated portion of the sales tax will go ahead and be paid over immediately as it's generated in that district. Ad valorem taxes will begin to be paid immediately upon transfer of the property outside of the foundation. So a baseline sort of ad valorem will be established that will come over to the county immediately. So there's some very good benefits that even start immediately, but the long-term benefit of the entertainment district will be much broader than just money to the city forever. We have the most important and significant economic development generator in our university. They bring probably 20,000 or so consumers to our community every year. They rent our properties, they buy goods and services from our retail outlets. They spend all sorts of money in our restaurants, and they really lift our economy annually. The books and tuition that they buy and the fees that they pay to the university ends up being paid over to salaries at the university, and in turn that money is spent in our local economy. So we can't even hardly estimate the benefit that the university has to our community, and they need this. Why do they need this? Not just because it's a basketball arena and they want something new and shiny, not at all. It's because they are in a competition just like our businesses for students. That is their customer. We think of them often as state institutions. Well, not a very large portion of their budget is covered by state money anymore. I think it's somewhere in the 15% mark. They depend upon the students and the tuition and fees that come in. And there is a battle for those customers with other universities around. And one of the things that students need is an environment in which to really learn and develop while they're here. That's what they look for. I understand from the recruiters that that's what the students ask about. Even their parents ask about, well, what's the lifestyle like here? What are the benefits of living in Norman compared to other university towns? Many of them are ahead of us. Many of them already have live, work, and play environments in place. We don't have that yet, but the entertainment district gives us an opportunity to provide that for the university. In addition, we're currently in the AIM project, sort of our next 25-year planning project at the city, and the city needs housing. I think it's 9,000 a year units or something, is that right? That the city needs to develop, and this entertainment district development plan includes some significant housing that will be contributed as well. So it's a wonderful live, work, and play development that will be introduced more fully shortly. We're excited about it, appreciate the patience that the community has shown in getting this work done and done right. Appreciate, Matt, your working with the developers and helping it become a Norman development, which I think we've achieved at this point. So that should be coming forward soon, and we're extremely excited about what it can do. But I don't want you to think that's our only focus. You may not realize that Team Norman is focused on multiple districts. There exists throughout our community, Campus Corner, Lindsay Street, East Norman. We have an opportunity that's coming right now to develop a number of different areas that are kind of a critical mass is coming together, with the Griffin property potentially coming open to us, opportunities to develop that for the east side. Campus Corner, there have been discussions about what might be able to be done there to freshen that up. We've even had discussions about Southwest Norman and an event center there that would be additive to our economy as well. So many things are going on, and I want you to sign up and help us at NEDC deliver on these promises. Who is Team Norman? Well, it's any individual, organization, business, or association that wants to make positive progress right here in Norman. We want to improve the quality of life. And just like one Norman, as a Team Norman supporter, you can pick the districts you like. In fact, we've got some t-shirts, I think, in the back. If you'll just sign that card and turn it in, we'll give you one of those. So be sure and do that. As I look forward to 2024, NEDC is adopting several One Norman goals identified by that 137-member Vision Task Force. Under the Economic Development pillar, NEDC has embraced goal number 1, among others. Today, I want you to know that with the help of the city and the county ARPA funds, NEDC is investing several $1 million into the former Copeland building on Main Street. The private sector, as we said, has re-engaged, and through that re-engagement, the private sector will be providing about 52% of the total cost of this multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art incubator system on Main Street, about 18,000 square feet of space. Very excited about that. Today, we are also announcing a new Startup 405 community event, Beyond the Norm, Innovation Week, which is slated for April 18th to the 20th. It's aimed at educating and informing OU alumni in town for the spring game about innovations in business, government, music, arts, and technology. Our ultimate goal is to encourage some of those alumni to join us in the private sector investment throughout Cleveland County. The program is presented by Boyd Street Ventures, which is a local venture capital firm. I'm sure most of you are aware of it. It's mirrored after a program at Notre Dame, their Innovation Week. Their leaders were in town last week. There'll be special events, keynote speakers, programming that will all be announced later in March. Again, under the One Norman Economic Development pillar, Goal 2 states, as a community, we will target primary jobs that increase Norman's wealth. NEDC has, in fact, completed a targeted industry study, and we are very focused on this goal. So focused that we will be making a significant primary jobs announcement in March. We're simply coordinating schedules right now with the state, and the company officials will have an exact date and time for you shortly, and we hope you'll stay tuned. Last week, you may have seen on the cover of the Oklahoma City Journal Record, stating that Hollywood is coming to Norman, and indeed it is. In fact, the Hollywood moguls are here in our room today. We only need the city to designate Norman as a film-friendly city. That is a necessary step in allowing our filmmakers to access some state incentives. But as an economic development project, NEDC is excited to facilitate and coordinate meetings of what could become a significant industry locally, particularly since the company will incorporate here in Oklahoma and will have their headquarters here in Norman. What that article didn't say specifically is that Stephanie Brinkman, who's shown there, I believe, yes, Visit Norman will be the point of contact should you want to apply to take Matt Damon's place or some other person. Lawrence really wanted me to share that fact because his phone has been blowing up with people wanting to have him read scripts and audition for parts. So Stephanie is the place for you to go. If you'd like to know more about this opportunity, the Hollywood Moguls are in the room, seated over here. You can't see the table number over there. I'd like to ask Richard Greenberg with Hollywood International Pictures and Randy Turo with Feature Pro to stand and be recognized. I believe you're the only living back-to-back Best Movie Oscar winner in the world, aren't you? That's what I thought. So they've been visiting Oklahoma for the last several, probably 6 months. They've been here for the last 2 weeks visiting with their local partners, Jordan Kramer and Tyson Helton. We really appreciate those young men for the work they've done in recruiting this business to our community. I know that you have found that the Cleveland County and the City of Norman leadership has been helpful to you, and I want to assure you that it's our intention to make your decision a very successful one. We have a 30-second commercial. Good. I didn't know we had that. You want to play that right now? It's going to be exciting. The work that we have started is just started. And we have a number of you already in the room that have joined forces with us, as you saw on the slide that shows the sponsorships and the membership that's occurred. We have a lot of membership opportunities available with NEDC. They're tiered, so there are many levels of participation that you can choose, but we need you to choose them. Like I said, we've got a lot of things coming in the next few years. Recently, I heard someone say it's now or never. May it never be never. It needs to be now. And now is the time for us to take charge, be engaged, and deliver something special. An opportunity like the Entertainment District, the development of the Griffin Memorial property, those things just don't come around every day. And in fact, I would say they don't come around every decade. So we are at a point in time that as the leaders of this community, we need to step up. We need to join forces, we need to participate, and we need to see to it that Norman becomes the kind of place that we all want to live in. So thank you very much for being here. The meeting is adjourned.